Okay, hello everyone. So welcome to the first of our 2 weeks of webinars. So we've been doing these now for probably the last sort of 6 weeks, would you say? It's been going really well. We've had a great response. But first we just opened this up to our clients. And now we've been promoting them with Rightmove and a few other places. So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be telling you what we're going to bring you. So the first thing is we're going to bring you some really good property bargains. So last week we launched a development called The Vines, which is down in Lagoa. It's something that we've never really done before. And the developer came to us and he said, look, I've got this beautiful development on a vineyard. It's nearly finished. They're all little individual properties. And what I want to do is I want to release the project and sell it really quickly. So we kept the prices really low. We did one webinar and we reserved 11 properties in there in 4 days. So that was brilliant. And the houses there, they started at 133,000 euros for a detached property, and it had a net guaranteed rental of 4%. So that was a really good buy, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good, very good. You don't get buys like that.
No. So yeah, so we're going to start talking about what's been selling, where the market's really going, what mortgages are available, and this is the introduction to the 2 weeks of webinars. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be filming on locations. We're going to bring in mortgage brokers, currency experts. We're going to introduce you to people from the local schools, rental advice, tax experts. We've even got an architect who's coming on board with us as well. So you'll meet Hugo at some point. And he gives excellent advice just in case you want to build a property. So we'll start off, I'll introduce you to Angela, and then we've got Charlie on as well. So yeah, this is Angela Warren.
Hi. So yeah, I'm Angela, I work at Ideal Homes, been in the Algarve for 14 and a half years now. And I must say, I think whatever happens, the property always seems to fly out in the Algarve, no matter what situation we're in. I mean, we've had a great month in comparison, to what we're going through at the moment. And I think it's just that, obviously, as everybody knows, it's the third country in the world, and it's got a lot of advantages to it. So the market never really gets affected by much. I think people still want to come here, and I think at the moment we're selling a lot over the telephone, a lot online, and that's due to a lot of people buying rental investments, holiday homes. They want to know that next year they've got somewhere else to come to. But I think now is going to be as well the relocations. So I know everybody's like rushing now to get get their home in Europe, and I think it's a good thing to if you're thinking of doing it, to do that now. So I think we're going to move the market a little bit and go more towards the villas and things like that. So, but yeah, I think we're still getting the sales, and we're still getting a lot of people very interested. And I think it helps that you can get all the knowledge by doing this. So you sat at home in your comfort, but you can ask us the questions, and you're getting to know everything you need to know so that you can actually make that move or that step or whatever it is you're wanting to do.
Okay, so I mean, what's been going on in the marketplace? So we have quite a lot of listings ourselves. So we asked anyone who's desperate to sell to get in touch. So a few things popped up. So we cover the full Algarve, so right away from the Spanish border all the way to just past Lagos. And the first bargains that started appearing was in Cabanas, so which is a little village just after Tavira. We had a developer down there who's building some really nice apartments with sea views. He's a little Portuguese builder, and he reduced his prices by 10%. So if you look on our webpage, it's just in the top-hand corner on either Ideal Homes Portugal or idealhomesinternational.co.uk. And if you look at the reduced section, there's 65 properties that have been reduced, and his properties show up there. He's still on target for completion in about 3 months' time. And there you're able to get a 2-bed apartment for under 200,000 euros with sea views, 25 minutes from the airport, brand new, and we're doing video tours later in the week with that one as well. Moving across to the centre, I mean, the centre of the Algarve is probably the most established area. So you've got places like Villamora, Valdelobo, Quinta do Lago. We've seen 1 or 2 bargains pop up. So one of the properties that we got told about last week was the builder rang me. We had the property listed at €390,000. It was a 3-bed detached little house, enough space to put a pool in completely refurbished. It was beautiful. And he rang me on I think it was the Wednesday morning, and he said, Chris, I'd really like to get rid of it. I've been offered another opportunity where I really need to get my money out. He had no mortgage on it, so he was able to drop the price. And he agreed that he would take €290,000. And we pushed that out to the full database that we've got, pushed it out on social media and some of our partners. And we had 90 inquiries for that property. And the first person who inquired, he was the fastest. And he reserved the property and went to deed straight away. So that was one of the really good buys. And then Charlie found the property last week. So if you want to tell us a bit about that property, Charlie.
Yeah, so we have a villa just around the corner from the office in Villa Sol. It was originally listed at 875, and then as they really wanted to sell because they're not living in the villa, they agreed to reduce it by 200k just for our reduced properties. And then I did a video on it because Chris said, can you pop round? So I ran over my heels through the building site, which is because they're building lots of new villas here at the moment. And then I sent it to a client and he said, yep, I like that. Let's go and see it. So then Chris took him out and he loved it. He's just moved over from the UK and he's looking to completely renovate a villa. So to get a villa in this area for 685, I think it was, 685, yeah. You just can't find a villa in Villa Sol for that. So he's going to do some work to it. We went to the lawyers, put the 6k down, reserved it, and then we went to Hugo yesterday, which is the architect just around the corner that we use. He showed him a couple of projects that he's recently developed in the area, and the client said, yeah, I want you to develop some plans for me and give me a quote. So he's going to be adding value to that, and then hopefully he'll sell it on with us in about 6 months and make a nice profit.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good bargain. So the interesting thing about that, it was one of the oldest villas on Villa Sol. So it had a really big plot, and that was like 2,000 square meters. The villa itself is a little bit smaller, is going to extend that to 400 square meters. And that's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms at the moment, needed the kitchen doing, new windows. And if somebody spent 150 to 200,000 euros on that, that'd easily be €1 million villa. And in that case, I mean, what you can do with that is on the 685, the banks will lend you 80% of that value. And the interest rates floating from 0.9 to 1.5%. So, and the mortgages are available up to the age of 80 years of age. They'll also, if you put a project in with a bank, sometimes the bank will lend you money off the project as well. So if you was going to invest 200,000 euros, the bank will probably consider lending you up to about 120,000 euros as well. So depending on their terms and conditions. So you can get a really good rate on your money and flip the property. Or if you get caught out with a property, you could always rent it out, make your money back from your buying costs, and take things from there. So it's a really good buy. And that's really where the market's at. So there are 1 or 2 bargains to be had. You need to react really quickly though, if you get a big discount like that. The other one is down in Adega, which is down in Lagos. Now, with this developer, it's not as if he needs the money to complete the development, because he'll do reduced deposits. But what he does want is he wants to know that he's sold it, and he's going to start a new development, which is going to be his luxury development, and he's going to sell 2 beds in there at 800,000. So with the development that's coming up for completion at Adega, you can get a really nice 2-bed, 2-bath apartment for around the 350 mark. It's got an indoor pool, outdoor swimming pool, jacuzzi, sauna, lots of really nice facilities, and really close to the marina. So, and he's doing really low deposits. It's going to complete just before this time next year, and that's a really nice location, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice location.
What would you say is the benefit of buying in Lagos?
I think, especially if you want a rental investment, Lagos is the one to look at. I think mainly because a lot of holiday makers want to go there. It's because it's there's so much to do there. You've got everything to hand. You've got nice beaches, you've got a town, you've got a marina, so you've everything's there. There's a minimal amount of hotels in comparison to the amount of people that's wanting to holiday there. So for rental investment, I think it's a fantastic one to go for. And the quality, I think the builders there as well, the quality of the build is really, really good, and people always want to go on holiday to it because of that.
Yeah, and talking about holidays, so with the rental market this year, we've been targeting more at the southern European destinations for getting clients from. So the other week when we had all the Portuguese on holiday, we had about 40 arrivals in one day. So suddenly, like, everything had been quiet. Suddenly everyone had to run around, get all the properties ready. So yeah, so we're hopeful that things really start picking up sort of mid-July, and it should push summer back, you know, because everyone's been in lockdown. So moving forward, I think we're going to see an increase on bookings for October this year, November, certainly Christmas. So Christmas is a lovely place to spend in the Algarve. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd certainly be looking for some winter sun this year. If I were in a country where I don't get much sun, definitely.
I think my mum and brother have decided they're coming here for Christmas. We'll see.
So yeah, so we would like to open up to for any questions. Or did you have anything to add, Charlie?
Just to add that, how many sales have we had just this week?
On the last week, we've had 11 sales. So the market's really picked up. So yeah, I think it was more to do with the vineyard.
Yeah.
So
and we've still got, sorry, I think we've sold 10 or 11, is it now? So there's 32. So now we've got 22 available, or 21.
It's 21 available. So there's some of the bigger units still available, one or two of the smaller ones. So the bigger units are on the front line. So instead of having like a frontline golf apartment or a frontline beach apartment, you've got a frontline vineyard apartment. So you can see the wine growing in front of you. And it was interesting to go up there because you feel like you're kind of in the countryside. But we have an app similar to Bolt, similar to Uber, called Bolt, which is a Portuguese Uber, if you like. And it's only €7 in a taxi down to Caveiro, down to Ferragudo. It was €45 in a taxi from the airport. So you could actually stay there without a car. And on site as well, there was 2 swimming pools. So you've got a heated swimming pool, it's a little bit smaller. And then you've got the big outdoor infinity swimming pool in front of the restaurant that's on site. So you could spend all your time on the resort and nip off into town, do your shopping, go to the beach, and have a really nice week's holiday or 2-week holiday there. But if you don't want to do that, the developer will give you the guaranteed 4% return, which sounds a little bit on the low side, but you have to remember that's a net return. So he's paying your condominium fees, he's paying your bills, and it's literally 4% that you can put in your pocket. So if you've got a mortgage, I mean, the only thing to mention with the Vines is that the mortgages aren't quite as good because it's classed as a touristic development. So the mortgage is still good rates, around 1.8, 1.9%. So you're literally paying off less than 2% to the bank and putting 2% in your pocket. So, and as I say, really low price entry from 133, and the most expensive unit in there is about 170. And that's for one of the larger units with a bigger patio and a bigger indoor. But what I like about that is it's built by a German developer, so the standard of the development is really good.
It'll be interesting to see the prices are next year after, because I think they'll go up considerably. I think whoever gets in there now is made a really good investment, even without the rental. The investment itself, I think, will be fantastic. You don't see things like that here. It's unique. So
I never thought we'd be selling 1-bedroom detached houses on a vineyard for less than €150,000. So yeah, that was a bit of a shocker, but I'm really pleased that he released it, and it came at a perfect time for people to be able to grab that bargain. And there's all sorts of nationalities buying in there, isn't there? There's some Portuguese, there's people from America, people from Canada, Brits, Irish. So yeah.
Yeah, saying about, because you can buy part of the vineyard and make your own wine, so you can have your own labelled wine. So there'll be lots of people sat around the pool sharing each other's wine and saying mine's better. I can imagine it's going to be a really good, fun place to spend your holiday.
Yeah, no, I like that place. And then we've been keeping in touch with a lot of the banks as well. So the banks went through a bit of a slowdown period where they were taking a little bit longer to approve mortgages, but they're all back fully staffed. So yeah, I mean, we had 3 approvals this morning. Anything from people taking a mortgage of €80,000 over a 30-year period. So the repayments on that one were less than €200 a month. To people, we had one this morning that was approved for €1 million. So yeah, so the approvals are coming well, and we're still using all the different banks. So the mortgages are really good. And I think the best approval we've had in the last 3 weeks was at 0.9% over 35 years. So, and that's a repayment mortgage as well. So that's going well. What else would you say has been changed? I suppose a lot more virtual tours. So a virtual, if anyone wants to see a specific property, what we've been doing is booking in a one-on-one tour. The salesperson goes out, goes to the property, and meets you there at a designated time, and spends however long you need, and actually takes you around the property with their iPad or their phone, and you can ask questions about the property and really get a good feel for it. So that's been a really good.
I think that's something that'll take off going forward, even when people can fly out. I think it's something that people will still want to do. I think it's a new thing going forward. The technology is going to be the way.
It saves a lot of bootleg.
Yeah.
So yeah, just before, I mean, the old days where we would fly you over, spend 3 or 4 days with you, taking you to different properties, and 50% of the time you'd pull up outside the property and people would say, no, I don't quite like the look of the outside of it. So we can overcome that before you even get on the plane. So we get your mortgage pre-approved, show you the areas, show you the properties, and then when you come out, you don't need to spend as long on the ground. We still think you should get a feel for the property and a feel for the area. We can take you straight to one of the properties that suits exactly what you're looking for. And Charlie, what would you say has been the feedback? Because Charlie speaks to clients every single day. I think Charlie's muted herself. I assume it's frozen. Why don't you come upstairs and jump on tears? Okay. So she's downstairs in the office and we're upstairs. So we're based in Villa Sol, just overlooking the golf course. So yeah, really nice view and a really nice location. So yeah, it's a good chance to keep an eye on the full Algarve and seeing what's really going on.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky.
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I don't know what happened to my computer.
Day of the webinars and your computer's blown up.
I don't know what happened. It was like I could see myself, but nothing was working. So I thought of a couple of questions that I feel like people are probably wanting to be answered. So why would you buy in Portugal and spend more? Because I had a client the other day who's looking at either Spain or Portugal or Italy or France. Even though you have to spend more in Portugal and you could spend less in another country, what are the main reasons why you should pick Portugal?
Okay, so I mean, the difference between, I would say, Spain and Portugal, it depends on the area, because I mean, if you went down to Cabanas and you could get an amazing property for 250,000 with a big roof terrace, with access to a swimming pool. If you went down to central Marbella, that same property would cost you €1 million. But if you compared it to, say, Costa Blanca, the same property would probably only cost you €120,000. So the difference really is that the borrowings between Spain and Portugal. So in Portugal, you can get an 80% mortgage, versus Spain, you can get 60%. The buying costs in Portugal on something that's 250 would be around 6%. In Spain, there'd be 15%. In Spain, the property would be 75 square meters. In Portugal, it's because of the building regulations. The properties are much bigger, so your property would be 150 square meters. And they're just different. I think it comes down to people's personal choice. Portugal's a lot more relaxed. So in the Algarve, we receive usually 6 to 7 million visitors. and we've got 33 golf courses. In, say, the Costa del Sol, they receive 22 million visitors, and you receive probably, oh sorry, there's 70 golf courses. So there's a big difference between the two. I mean, I lived in the Costa del Sol for 2 years. I thought it was a fantastic place. But then when I came to the Algarve for a long weekend, I kind of felt a bit more relaxed here. And I'm not very good with languages.
Yeah,
So,
wow. Just thinking,
yeah, I found it easier to settle in Portugal. Between France and Portugal, or France and Spain, I mean, if you're on the south coast of France in Côte d'Azur, the prices are through the roof. I always remember a French real estate agent telling me, he said, if you wanted to explore when property prices were low, you're about 150 years too late. So yeah, so property prices down in Nice or the Côte d'Azur is, they're through the roof. It's a beautiful coastline. I remember driving through there about 10 years ago. It's a busy place, but it's really beautiful to go to. But it's one of my favourite places to go to out of season, so when it's a little bit quieter. But yeah, I mean, it's anyone's personal opinion. I chose Portugal because it's easy to live in. Cost of living is very low. I mean, you can still go out for lunch for €6, go for a really nice meal with drinks for about €15. But again, it depends where you go. If you go into Valdelobo, Quinta do Lago, suddenly that becomes €50 or €60. So yeah, I would say it's personal preference, but I would always bear in mind the buying costs. If you're taking finance and taking a mortgage, I would bear that in mind as well. And also the rentability of the property and the exit strategy. So yeah.
Cool. So I'm imagining a scenario in my head, as I know that a lot of clients are probably in this situation. So I've got a house in the UK. It's not on the market. I'd probably think it would take a while to sell. What could you advise a client to do if they wanted to buy and get a good bargain right now and they want their holiday home here?
I mean, if the client's got savings, you could explore using your savings. But I would explore one of the mortgage options. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're buying in Spain, you can get a 60% mortgage. The rates are around 2% to 2.5. Portugal would be up to 80%, and the rates are between 0.9 and 1.5. The other option you could do is you could look at taking an equity release in the UK. So imagine you've got a property where 400,000, you only owe 50,000 on the mortgage. Right now is a good time to buy because the chances are you'll get a good bargain. So take some equity out of property. Don't overstretch yourself. But I've done this before where clients have remortgaged their property. They might be paying £1,000 a month. They take the equity release, they extend the mortgage slightly, buy a property overseas in Spain or Portugal or France, and the repayments aren't that high. So yeah, and the mortgages go up to the age of 80 years of age over here. So when I took my last mortgage, I was 37, and yeah, they gave me a 40-year mortgage. I borrowed €377 from the bank, and the repayment on it is €829 a month. So it's really low. So someone's just asked, what type of personal financial information does the bank require to approve a mortgage? So with that, if you look at our website, idealhomesmortgages.com, that'll give you in-depth information. But just a brief overview would be, if you was employed, they'd be looking for 3 months pay slips. Some banks ask for 6, but most of them just 3 months. They'd be looking for bank statements, an employment letter, passport, proof of address, and your Portuguese or Spanish NIE number, which is your tax number, and we can arrange that for you. It's really easy to do. And then similar question, if I'm 45 years of age, what's the longest duration mortgage I could get? So if it was a bank that lent up to the age of 80, it'd be 35 years. So, and one of the questions that usually gets asked is, do I have to take the full term mortgage? I mean, my advice would be take the full term. Then if you want to pay the mortgage off, the redemption fees are only 0.5%. So for every 10,000 euros that you pay off, you only pay 50 euros. So if you've been renting the property out, you've got some excess rental income. But at the end of the year, call in at your branch, or simply just go to, or just send them an email and say, I'd like to make an overpayment of 10,000 euros or 5,000 euros, whatever the amount is, and simply pay it off. But one thing to bear in mind with that is, imagine you've got a house, I don't know, somewhere else in the world, and you've got a mortgage rate of 3%, but in Spain or Portugal, you've got 2% or 1%, is either pay off the loan that's in the UK first, or pay off car finance, or pay off your credit cards, because that's going to be at a high interest rate. So that's what I would do. What was it like when you got your last mortgage, Angela?
It was quite simple, quite straightforward. I hadn't had a mortgage for a while and said that I never really wanted one again. But then I looked into it and realised that it was just daft not having one because the rates are so low. And so I decided to buy a bigger house and have a mortgage, and so glad I did. I've got a beautiful house that I would never have been able to buy if I hadn't gone out and got a mortgage. But yeah, it's quite a simple process.
I remember when it was probably, 2 years ago, Angela went out looking at properties with clients, and she found the perfect property for herself. Well, so and so Angela, I hope you don't mind me sharing this bit of information. She went, I hope the
client's not watching.
Angela was really happy with her husband Andy in this little 2-bedroom house until she saw the dream villa. And the dream villa consists of the biggest living room I've ever seen, the most beautiful kitchen. So her husband's a fantastic chef. I've been up for dinner a few times there. And he's got the most amazing kitchen that they've had fitted. It's fully detached. It's on a big plot, 5,000 square meters. She's put her own bar in during the lockdown.
Priorities.
She's fine. You're really at home there now, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I love time there. Love it.
And, yeah, it's more out in the countryside. And yeah, I mean, that villa.
But I would have never got it if I couldn't have had a mortgage. I would have never been able to get that if it hadn't been for.
And how much did you mortgage at the end?
I mortgaged, oh God, how much did I mortgage? Around 300, I think it were. But I have paid some off because you may as well, if you've got, like I say, if you've got some money coming, the penalties are really low. So I have paid some off, and now I've got 160,000 mortgage and a very nice, I think, house.
It's a party house. So yeah, and someone's just asked how much would closing costs likely to be? So it depends on the purchase price. So if you was buying a property like we're talking about prices on the vineyard from, say, just to use a round figure, 150,000, you'd be looking at around about, in Portugal, between 5 and 6% for that. If you went to 250,000, you'd be looking at more just be under 6% without a mortgage. With a mortgage, because you have to pay, in Portugal, on any loan that you take out, you pay a tax, which is 0.6%. So I think the Portuguese government do it, so nobody likes taking out finance. But yeah, so there is that small tax, that's one of the downsides. But so it pushed your closing costs on a 250 property to around about 6.5–7%. Over in Spain, you'd be looking on a property that's 100,000. You'd probably be, if it's an older property, you'd be looking at between 10 and 12%. If it was a new build property, because they charge VAT, you'd be looking at more like 12 to 15%. And most of that, in Portugal, it's all payable at the end, the taxes. In Spain, you pay it in increments. So if the property is 100,000, you'll pay, and you put down a 30% deposit, you pay 30% of your taxes there and then. And then you pay 70% of your taxes at the end. And later on today, we're going to be giving a market update with Spain, in Spain, with Ben, who's got his fingers on the ground. He lives over there. He's going to be talking about some frontline beach apartments. I've been down there to see him. I was shocked and actually a little bit jealous. I wish we had the same in Portugal. But they're launching them for 99,000 euros. So they're a really good buy. So that is one of the plus sides of buying in Spain. Any other questions?
Any thoughts on climate change impact on the Algarve area? We are we number 3 in green, is it Peace, Portugal?
Not Greenpeace, but in a green energy supplier. So
Yeah.
someone was telling me this, I think it was my brother. My brother's big up on this. And he was saying not so long ago, they managed to run the whole country by using renewable energy resources for 3 days, which is really impressive. And as you drive further into the hills, you'll see that they're making use of solar power, wind energy. Any new build property as well in Portugal has to have solar panels on the roof now. So, I mean, it's a big thing. We get 300 days of sunshine. You might as well take advantage. Me, myself, I'm going to actually take my house off the grid. I had this discussion with our lawyer. So I was asking the legal implications of doing that. And he's actually building his own house that's off the grid up in Lisbon as well. So there is that opportunity to do that.
There's not much industry here as well, is there? It's, and that keeps the atmosphere really healthy and whatnot, because you don't get a lot of pollution. There's not many cars on the road or things like that.
No, and there's a big push towards everyone driving electric vehicles like there is everywhere else in the world. So yeah, I mean, there's always a risk that it doesn't work, but I think that's going to go for everywhere in the world. You know, I'm seeing, I've spoken to a few people from the southern hemisphere. I spoke to one guy the other day from Australia, and he said, I prefer being in Europe just because the sun's not as strong. I mean, it is quite sunny outside today, but no, I think I've always preferred being down this way because it's a little bit cooler in the summer, and that's why it's popular for golfers.
Fantastic climate to live in. You never get bored. You never get rain for a long time. You might get it a few days. It never gets too hot that you're like, you know, you're wanting the summer to go. It is a really lovely climate that all year you benefit from the weather in one way or another. I mean, even in January, it's sunny, you can sit outside. It's cold in an evening sometimes, but in the daytime you can sit outside in the sunshine and benefit from it. So for me, I think it's a very good all year round climate. No severity, no snow, and not too hot.
No, I think I saw hailstones once about 11 years ago. So yeah, I mean, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the plus points of where to buy, where not to buy as well. So we sell a lot of properties in Lisbon, or we used to, but the prices seem to have increased a lot there. So that's one market to keep your eye on if you are going to buy up there. And that's because of the golden visa. So that kind of drove the prices quite high, didn't it?
Yeah.
So Charlie, anything else to add?
No, we've got no more questions. Does anyone else have any more questions?
I see we can see a few clients on who have already brought with us as well. So hello, everyone.
And a couple that are maybe buying soon.
So we look forward to welcoming you over the next 2 weeks. We've got some really good bargains coming up. I know we've got villas on golf courses that have been reduced. We've got 1 or 2 developers who are going to offer some really good deals. We're going to be taking another look at the vineyards. Yeah, over in Spain, we're going to be showing you some really good deals, like €99,000 apartments on the golf course. We've got a few luxury surprises as well over there. So this is the start of the next 2 weeks. We'll be bringing you a lot more information. We've got some videos made up, but really it'll be to give you all the information that you know, so you know if Portugal or Spain are for you.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Any questions you've got, my email address is just chris@idealhomesportugal.com. Angela's just angela@idealhomesportugal.com. And Charlie?
No one will be able to spell it. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, it's Charlie, but Tia's put it in. Ideal Homes. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.